Have you ever felt your legs trembling after just a few steps up the stairs, or found yourself completely drained? By mid-afternoon, like your body just gave up on you. I want you to know, this is not the end of aging, it's your body's way of asking for care. And the miracle is, with just one small change in your morning coffee, adding cacao, collagen, or even both, you can regain strength, flexibility, and the confidence you thought was gone. Stay with me, because the next few minutes may change the way you live the rest of your life. So the real question is, what's actually happening inside our bodies after 60? Why does a short flight of stairs feel like a mountain, or why does a simple afternoon leave us completely drained? The truth, one that few people talk about, is this: every single year, we lose a portion of our muscle mass and the collagen that once kept us strong, flexible, and confident. That's the hidden foundation of energy and independence slipping away. And from here, I want to take you on a journey that hundreds of my patients have already walked. A journey that begins with something as simple as the cup of coffee you drink every morning. My friend, let me ask you something. In the morning, when you hold that familiar cup of coffee, have you ever imagined that just one small spoonful could turn it into a gentle remedy? One that helps you regain your strength, your flexibility, even a piece of the youth you thought was gone. I'm 60 years old now, and after decades of walking alongside thousands of people over 50, I've realized something important. The answers don't come from big, complicated changes. They come from the simple habits we tend to overlook. After 60, your body loses about 1% of its muscle every year. It may not sound like much, but in 10 years, that's 10% of your strength gone, and collagen, the scaffolding that supports your joints, your skin, your tendons, has been declining since your 20s. By the time you reach 60, half of it is gone. I'm sure you felt it. The stiff legs in the morning, the struggle on the stairs, the exhaustion after something as simple as a trip to the store. These aren't signs of weakness. They're simply the natural results of aging. But here's what I want you to hold on to. Aging doesn't have to mean the end of strength. The body still knows how to rebuild itself if we give it what it needs. And sometimes, the solution is sitting right inside that morning cup of coffee. I've seen remarkable transformations, from something as simple as adding a teaspoon of raw cacao or a scoop of hydrolyzed collagen peptides. And when the two are combined, the effect can be even more powerful. Let me tell you about Sarah. She's 70 years old and she loved gardening, but her body had been giving out. Mornings brought stiff knees. Even walking around her yard left her drained. By the afternoon, her energy had crashed. She tried supplement after supplement. Nothing worked. When I suggested raw cacao in her morning coffee, she chuckled. "Doctor, I've been drinking coffee for 40 years. Why add bitter powder now?" I smiled and said, "Give it 3 weeks, then tell me how your body answers back." 3 weeks later, she called me. Her voice was full of surprise. "Doctor, I worked in the garden all afternoon, and I wasn't wiped out. It's like energy is flowing through me again." I just nodded, because I'd seen this before. Cacao isn't just bitter powder. It's loaded with epicatechin, a compound that helps your muscles absorb and use protein, like a mailman delivering nutrients right to your cells. And it's rich in flavonoids, which improve circulation, sending oxygen and fuel exactly where your body needs it. That's why Sarah and so many others not only felt stronger, but also sharper in their minds. Research shows cacao's flavonoids may even lower the risk of cognitive decline. A hidden benefit from just one spoonful, but cacao is only half the picture. Sarah still had aching knees in the morning. After sitting for a while, standing up was heavy and painful. That's when I introduced her to cacao's best companion, hydrolyzed collagen peptides. I tell my patients, collagen is like the scaffolding of a building. When it's strong, the structure stands steady. When it breaks down, everything wobbles. Hydrolyzed collagen is broken into small pieces your body can absorb easily, sending it straight to your joints, bones, tendons, and skin. At first, Sarah saw only small changes. Her skin looked smoother after a month, but by the second month she laughed. "Doctor, I stood up from my favorite chair this morning, and I didn't even think about my knees." 6 months later, she was back to her evening walks, something she had given up for years. With a smile I'll never forget, she told me, "It feels like I got my 60s back, instead of being stuck in my 70s. Have you ever felt that moment yourself? When you realize you're no longer thinking about pain, no longer out of breath climbing stairs. I've seen countless patients rediscover joy through this simple morning change. If cacao brings strength to your muscles and energy to your brain, collagen keeps your joints moving, your bones steady, your risk of falls much lower. And here's the part most people never expect. When cacao and collagen are combined, the results don't just add up. They multiply. Picture it this way. Cacao improves circulation, a fleet of trucks racing down your body's highways. Collagen is the building material, the bricks and beams for repair. Together, the trucks and the supplies make real construction happen inside you. Patients even tell me their sleep improved. Once the constant ache and fatigue are lifted, the body can finally rest deeply. Now, I know some people want big doses fast, but I always say start small. Half a teaspoon of cacao, half a scoop of collagen, just for the first week. Let your body adapt. Let it recognize these new allies. Then move up to the full amount. It's like watering a seed. Too much too soon can drown it. Steady care makes it grow strong. And one last thing, choose wisely. Cacao must be raw and unsweetened. Otherwise, sugar ruins the benefits. Collagen must be high-quality, hydrolyzed peptides from grass-fed sources. It should dissolve cleanly without clumps. That's the difference between truly nourishing your body and simply draining your wallet. When I look back at Sarah's journey and hundreds of others like her, I realize something profound. You don't need expensive miracles. You don't need to chase the latest fads. You just need to listen to your body and give it what it quietly asks for. Sometimes the greatest gift you can give yourself isn't in a prescription bottle. It's in a simple spoonful, stirred into the coffee you already drink each morning. Cacao and collagen, two humble ingredients, and when they work together, it can feel like you've added an extra decade of vitality to your life. My friend, I know you've probably asked yourself at some point, can something this small really make a big difference in my life? I've heard that same question from hundreds of patients, and honestly, there was a time when I asked it myself. But day after day, I've witnessed proof that's simply too powerful to ignore. Picture this for a moment. It's late afternoon. You've just come back from the store, or maybe from playing with your grandkids. Instead of collapsing into a chair, too exhausted to move, you still have the energy to sit on the porch, sip some tea, and enjoy the moment. Or imagine a chilly winter morning. Instead of hesitating at the stairs, worried about stiff knees, you walk down with confidence, steady and sure. These little moments may seem small, but for those of us over 60, they represent true freedom. And cacao and collagen have given that freedom back to so many people. I remember a patient named David. He was 67 years old. He had once been a gym teacher, strong and energetic. But after retiring, he felt like his body had betrayed him. Every time he climbed the stairs, he had to stop halfway to catch his breath. He told me, embarrassed, "Doctor, I feel ashamed in my own house, holding onto the railing like an old man." I suggested he try adding cacao to his morning coffee. At first, David made a face. Raw cacao is bitter, not easy to swallow, but I told him, "Yes, it's bitter on the tongue, but give it time. The sweetness comes later, not in taste, but in how your body feels." And just a month later, David called me, his voice bursting with excitement like a student again. "Doctor, I walked more than a mile with my wife today, without stopping once." And David's story isn't unique. I also think of Maria, a 74-year-old woman who loved to dance, but she had given up her dance class because of painful hips. That's when we began her journey with hydrolyzed collagen peptides. In the first month, she only noticed her skin felt a little smoother, and she was disappointed. I encouraged her. Think of your body like a house under repair. It takes time for the bricks to fill in the cracks. By the third month, Maria's face lit up. She told me, "I went back to my dance class. I couldn't finish every routine, but at least I wasn't sitting on the sidelines anymore." And for someone her age, Being able to return to a passion like that is priceless. You see, cacao and collagen aren't just nutrients. They are companions, helping us reclaim things we thought were gone forever. Some of my patients even tell me that when they combine both, their sleep improves. I believe it's because the body is no longer weighed down by constant nagging pain or exhaustion. When the body rests, the mind can rest too, and sleep, deep, healing sleep, becomes possible again. Have you ever woken up after a night like that, truly refreshed? If you have, you know how precious it feels. Of course, I never tell anyone to put all their hope in one powder or one cup of coffee. Cacao and collagen are pieces of a bigger puzzle. I always remind my patients, pair them with balanced nutrition and gentle movement. Sometimes it's as simple as a 15-minute walk in the park, a few stretches in the morning, or lifting light weights to keep your arms strong. These small habits, alongside cacao and collagen, help people maintain the independence that means so much in later life. I once asked a group of my patients, if you had to choose between a big house and a pair of strong legs that let you walk on your own, which would you choose? Almost all of them said, give me strong legs, because independence is the greatest treasure at 60, 70, or 80 years old. And what moves me most is this. After staying consistent with cacao and collagen, many of them felt as if they'd been handed back a piece of their youth. Someone who once trembled just standing up could now walk confidently to the market. A woman who once skipped social gatherings now dances joyfully with her friends. These changes can't always be measured on a scale or written on a chart, but I see them shining clearly in their eyes. So if you're still doubtful, let me say this, never underestimate the small things. One spoon of cacao, one scoop of collagen, one morning ritual, simple as they seem, when repeated day after day, they can reshape the way you live the rest of your life. My friend, so many of us have grown used to the idea that aging automatically means decline, that after 60 or 70, your muscles weaken, your joints ache, your mind becomes less sharp, and all of it is simply called normal. But let me ask you this, who decided what normal is? And do we really have to accept it as our fate? In more than 30 years of working with older adults, I've learned something remarkable. The human body has an incredible ability to recover, even when you think it's too late. I once met a man named Robert, 75 years old. He came into my office leaning heavily on a cane, shuffling his feet, his voice heavy with fatigue. He told me, "Doctor, I think my active life is over." I encouraged him to try one simple change. Add raw cacao to his morning coffee, just one small spoonful. Be patient. Give it 4 weeks. Robert was skeptical, but 2 months later, he walked back into my office without the cane. He smiled, the smile of a man who felt young again. "Doctor," he said, "I just took a walk in the park with my grandson, and he told me I was moving faster than him." Imagine that, a man who thought his active life was finished, now finding joy again in something as simple as walking with family. That isn't magic. It's the result of the right nutrients and the patience to let the body respond. Then there's Linda. She's 68, a mother, a grandmother, and a pianist for over 40 years. When she came to me, her hands were stiff, her fingers so tight she couldn't finish a piece of music. For an artist, it felt like losing part of her soul. I introduced her to collagen peptides. She took them faithfully every morning. 3 months later, she sent me a video. There she was, seated at her piano, her hands gliding across the keys with grace. With tears in her voice, she said, "I thought I'd never play Chopin again, but collagen gave me the chance." You see, cacao isn't only for muscles, and collagen isn't only for joints. Together, they are keys that open doors back to passions you thought were gone. When you have energy, you live more fully. When your knees stop holding you back, you regain freedom. And when you combine the two, you don't just get health back, you get yourself back. Many of my patients tell me, "Doctor, I'm not just stronger, I'm finally sleeping again." I believe it's because, when the body is no longer weighed down by constant pain and fatigue, the mind can finally relax. Sleep comes naturally. I often ask them, when was the last time you woke up with energy, without that heavy exhaustion? Many can't even remember. but after just a few months with cacao and collagen, they tell me, I slept straight through the night, and this morning I feel alive again. I know you might be thinking, this all sounds wonderful, but could it really be that simple? And yes, that's exactly the point. Its simplicity is what makes so many people overlook it. We chase complicated, expensive solutions, while a small change in your morning coffee could begin a whole new chapter. Of course, cacao and collagen aren't miracle drugs. They require time, consistency, and the right lifestyle to support them. Balanced nutrition, gentle exercise, and perhaps most importantly, a positive outlook on aging. So let me ask you, if just one small habit each morning could give you 10 more years of walking freely, 10 more years of independence, would you try it? For me, the answer is always yes, because aging is not a sentence, it's a new chapter, and you have the power to decide how that chapter will be written. My friend, maybe you're sitting here listening and thinking, these stories sound wonderful, but could I really experience that myself? The answer is yes, but I want you to understand something important. Good health doesn't arrive overnight, and it isn't magic. It's more like tending a garden. You plant a seed today, you water it each day, and in time, you see the flowers bloom. Cacao and collagen are exactly those kinds of seeds. I think of Michael, 72 years old. He had been an engineer his whole life. He believed in precision and facts. When I first told him about cacao and collagen, he looked doubtful. Doctor, he said, how could a spoonful of powder possibly change my life? But he gave it a try because all he wanted was enough strength to take a simple evening walk with his wife again. 6 weeks later, Michael came back with his face glowing. He told me, Doctor, I just walked with her for almost an hour, without stopping once, for the first time in years. I felt like her husband again, not her burden. His words moved me deeply because sometimes the change isn't only in the body, it's in how we show up, for the people we love. Then there's Margaret, 66. She had grown hesitant to look at herself in the mirror. Her skin had wrinkled, her hair had thinned, her nails were brittle, but after just a few months of hydrolyzed collagen peptides, she told me, it's not only my knees that feel better, my skin looks brighter, my hair is stronger, and I finally feel confident again. Collagen rebuilt her from the inside, yes, but it also gave her a new sense of youth on the outside, and for many, that confidence is the greatest gift. And what about cacao? So many of my patients tell me that beyond stronger muscles, they feel sharper in their minds. I think of James, 69 years old. He struggled with memory and focus. After drinking cacao regularly, he told me his clarity improved, his thoughts felt sharper. Science supports this too. Flavonoids in cacao benefit the brain, even lowering the risk of cognitive decline. And I've always believed this. Mental clarity is just as important as physical strength. You need both to live with independence, freedom, and joy. But I always remind people, don't treat cacao and collagen as a life raft. That will save you on their own. They are tools, not miracles. I tell my patients, pair them with simple, healthy habits. Eat your greens, sleep on time, and move at least 20 minutes each day. I've seen people who took collagen but never exercised, and the results were slow. But the ones who combined cacao and collagen with walking, stretching, or lifting light weights, their bodies changed dramatically. And here's a little secret I want to share. Start small. Don't try to change everything at once. Begin with half a spoon of cacao, or half a scoop of collagen in your morning coffee. Let your body get used to it. Then slowly increase. It's like learning to play a new piece of music. One note, one chord at a time, slowly, steadily, it comes together, and within a few weeks, you'll realize you no longer wobble when you stand up, no longer lose your breath after a few steps, and most importantly, you'll start to believe that your body is still capable of moving forward, not just sliding backward into old age. So ask yourself this, how do I want the years ahead to unfold? Tired and dependent, or strong and independent? The answer is written in the choices you make every morning, and with cacao and collagen, you're planting a seed of strength, a seed of clarity, a seed of hope. My friend, when most people think about aging, they imagine it as a slippery slope, one that only gets steeper and harder. The the further you go, but I don't see it that way. To me, aging isn't a downward slide at all. It's a new path, one where we learn to walk slower, live deeper, and choose more wisely. And here's the miracle, even in your 60s or 70s. The body still knows how to recover if you give it what it needs. I want you to remember this. Change doesn't come from grand decisions. It comes from the small things, repeated day after day. A spoonful of raw cacao in your morning coffee, a scoop of collagen peptides that dissolves without taste. At first, it may feel like nothing is different, but after a few weeks, maybe a few months, you notice it. Your steps are steadier, your knees ache less, your mind feels clearer, your nights more restful, and most importantly, you regain the freedom to live life on your own terms. Ask yourself, do I want to carry my own groceries, take my grandchild for a walk, sit down and stand up without needing someone's hand? If the answer is yes, then why not begin tomorrow morning? Give your body the chance, because every year you lose 1% of muscle and nearly half your collagen compared to when you were 20. But that doesn't mean you're powerless. It simply means you must be more intentional, more thoughtful in how you care for yourself. I've seen too many stories not to believe. Sarah, who found her joy in gardening again. Robert, who put his cane aside to walk proudly with his grandson. Linda, the pianist who played Chopin once more, with graceful hands. Each of them thought aging meant loss, but through the smallest of habits, they found renewal. But don't forget, cacao and collagen aren't magic. They are tools. The real power lies in you. You are the one who chooses how you live the rest of your life. You can choose to sit back, passive, waiting for decline, or you can choose to stand, to walk, to give your body every opportunity to thrive. You can choose a 10-minute morning walk, more greens on your plate, a smile instead of a complaint. And yes, you can choose to begin your day with a cup of coffee that carries not just warmth, but hope. I believe every one of us, no matter our age, deserves to live with strength, clarity, and independence. And that journey doesn't begin someday far off. It begins the very next morning, when you wake up. So I want to leave you with this question. What will you stir into your coffee tomorrow? Will it be cacao for stronger muscles, collagen for healthier joints, or both for a complete renewal of body and spirit? And if today's message spoke to you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with a friend, a family member, someone walking the same path of aging as you. Because health, like joy, only grows greater when it's shared. I'm Dr. Mark Ellis. Thank you for spending this time with me, for listening and for reflecting. Remember, none of us can turn back the clock, but each of us can decide how we walk forward, and sometimes it all begins with a single cup of coffee. So today, we've explored the simple but powerful gifts of cacao and collagen. Just a spoonful in your morning coffee can bring energy back to your muscles, flexibility to your joints, and most importantly, the belief that age does not define you. Remember this, it's the small choices, repeated each day, that create the biggest changes for your health. If this video gave you hope, or even just one new idea for caring for yourself, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you won't miss what's coming next. And I'd love to hear from you. Will you try cacao, collagen, or both in your morning coffee? Share your story in the comments below. Thank you for spending this time with me. I'm Dr. Mark Ellis, and I'll see you in the next video, where together we'll keep building a life of strength, vitality, and freedom after 60.